This is the Japanese spider crab, the largest crab on Earth. With legs reaching more than 2 meters across, it looks like a creature pulled straight from the deep sea abyss. Here in the aquarium, it hangs on the glass, climbing slowly, as if trying to escape back into the cold ocean it once ruled. But despite its terrifying size, this giant is surprisingly gentle. Japanese spider crabs live in the dark waters of Japan, sometimes deeper than 300 meters. They can live for over a century, and while they look like monsters, they spend most of their time scavenging peacefully along the seafloor. But when you put several of them together, things get interesting. 6 of these giants gather on the bottom, pushing, climbing, and fighting over a single piece of food. These fights aren't meant to injure, they're competitions. In the deep sea, food is rare, and even the calmest giants will wrestle for the first bite. Spider crabs are scavengers, nature's cleaners. They feed on dead fish, squid, clams, and anything drifting down from above. Their sense of smell is incredibly strong, helping them locate food long before they see it. When a meal appears, size and strength decide who eats first and who must wait, but the ocean is full of strange designs, and none are stranger than the next creature. Meet the fiddler crab, one claw tiny, the other claw enormous, almost as big as its entire body. Only the males carry this massive claw. They use it to attract females, challenge rivals, and defend their small territories. The smaller claw is used for feeding, picking up grains of sand, and filtering out tiny food particles. And if you've ever seen a fiddler crab waving this giant claw into the air, it's not saying hello. This wave is a communication signal. Males wave to impress females, to warn other males to stay away, and to advertise the location of their burrow. Each species even has its own unique waving style, like a silent language written in motion. Can the small claw ever grow as big as the large one? Only if the big claw is lost. If a fiddler crab loses its giant claw in a fight, the small claw will grow into a new large one, and the old large claw will regrow as the small one. Nature swaps them like magic. Things are about to get even stranger. People know about colorful helmet crabs and giant king crabs, but a crab that looks like a spider living underwater, that is something else entirely. Some divers call it a fiddler spider crab. Others mistake it for a sea spider, but it's actually a tiny crab species with long, fragile legs that help it glide across the sand without sinking. These crabs spend their entire lives underwater. They breathe underwater, feed underwater, and rarely come to the surface. They survive by picking at tiny algae, worms, and microscopic food stuck to rocks. And despite their spider-like appearance, they're completely harmless. But the weirdest crab of all might be the frilly decorator spider crab, a creature that literally dresses itself. Decorator crabs cover their shells with sponges, algae, seaweed, coral fragments, and even tiny organisms they pick up from the ocean floor. These decorations act as camouflage, a walking disguise, a living reef that moves. Their shells are covered in tiny hooked hairs called setae, which work like natural Velcro, allowing the crab to attach almost anything it finds. The frilly decorator spider crab goes even further. Its legs and body are covered in leaf-like frills, giving it more surface area to hold extra decorations. Every crab ends up with a unique look. No two individuals are decorated the same. And these items aren't just for hiding. Some crabs choose toxic sponges or stinging organisms as armor, turning their disguise into a chemical shield. Nature doesn't just help them blend in, it helps them fight back. Now we leave the underwater world for a moment because the shoreline has its own dramas. On the beach, a sand-colored crab waits quietly beside its burrow. This is the ghost crab. Fast, silent, and almost invisible against the sand, it sits peacefully, eating something so small we can't even see it on camera. Ghost crabs feed on washed-up plants, insects, tiny clams, and organic debris from the waves. But peace doesn't last long on a crowded beach. Another crab approaches, not for food, but for territory. A good burrow means shelter, protection, and a safe place to escape predators. Ghost crabs are extremely territorial and will defend their burrows with raised claws, rapid movements, and even a rasping sound they make by rubbing parts of their claws together. If the challenger is smaller, it retreats. If it's bigger, the owner may lose its home entirely. The ocean also hides creatures that look almost too strange to be real. This is the box crab, a compact, armored crab with white eyes that seem to pop out of its shell like tiny headlights. This crab is built for hiding. It folds its claws tightly around its body, forming a perfect defensive shape that looks just like a stone on the seafloor. Sometimes you'll find a box crab half buried in the sand, waiting motionless, and every now and then another crab will climb onto it, looking almost like it's protecting it. But this behavior is not protection, it's competition. The second crab is trying to claim the same hiding spot, using its weight and position to dominate the space. In the wild, a good patch of sand can be as valuable as a good burrow. Nearby, another strange creature creeps across the bottom. The sleepy crab, carrying a sponge on its back like a soft helmet. The sponge isn't just decoration. It helps the crab blend into its surroundings, making it harder for predators to spot. The ocean has one more strange character to introduce: the hermit crab, the wanderer that carries its home on its back. Unlike true crabs, hermit crabs have soft, exposed bodies that make them vulnerable. To survive, they slip into empty snail shells, wearing them like portable armor. As they grow, they must search for larger shells, sometimes forming long shell exchange chains, where several crabs line up and swap homes one after another. Hermit crabs live close to the shore, scavenging for dead fish, algae, and anything edible the tide brings in. Their eyesight is surprisingly sharp, and their antennae can detect chemical signals in the water, helping them find food and sense danger. Every shell tells a story: where the crab has been, how big it is, and how well it protects itself. A perfect example of nature turning vulnerability into survival. And now we end this documentary with something that looks harmless, almost beautiful, but is surprisingly dangerous. This is fire coral. It's not actually a coral, and it's definitely not something you should ever touch. Fire coral is covered in tiny stinging cells, the same type used by jellyfish. A single touch can cause instant burning, painful welts, swelling, numbness, and a sting that can last for hours or even days. Many divers have learned this lesson the hard way. Fire coral grows in shallow reefs where swimmers often pass by without noticing. So if you see something bright and golden like this underwater, admire it from a distance. From giant spider crabs to tiny decorators, from underwater fighters to nearly invisible beach ghosts. The world of crabs is stranger, more complex, and more fascinating than most people ever imagine. And the ocean is full of surprises. Some beautiful, some bizarre, and some you should never touch. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more wildlife stories from around the world.